But really, when you look at the definition of bravery, it's so much more than that. So yes, those are examples of such amazing bravery, moments of bravery. So I want to honor that. But bravery is so much more than that. That's just physical bravery. Most of us, day in and day out, we're experiencing a different type of, not the physical bravery, but more of the social bravery. What holds people back is I'm scared that I'm going to be rejected, or I'm going to fail and it's not going to be perfect. Or, so it's usually those types of fears, not the physical fears, that are really holding people back and making them small in life.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dude Therapist. We have Jill Schulman on, and today we're going to tackle, I think, something that impacts every day of our lives, the concept of bravery. Before we get into the meat and potatoes and meal of the conversation, let's get a little taste of who Jill is. Can you introduce yourself to the listeners so they get to know who they're talking to and who they're listening to?
Yeah, Jill Schulman. I am currently now an author, speaker, and researcher on the science of bravery. So that's what I do now. A little bit about my background. I started my career, I guess, learning about bravery as a United States Marine. So I like to joke that my first career was blowing things up. I was one of the first ever combat engineer officers, which meant my team had responsibilities for like building stuff and blowing stuff up. So that was kind of a fun job. Then went to corporate America and worked in, Fortune 100 companies for about 15 years before I started my own company, Breakthrough Leadership Group. And so the last 10 and a half years, I have been doing the same work I used to do within the companies, but now I just do it with my own companies. Leadership development, culture. And a couple of years ago, I'm always focused on the growth and development of my clients and their companies. And I was kind of getting a little hungry to learn. And so I'm always reading studies and books because that's my job, to be an expert in, leadership development and culture and all that. And I stumbled upon this whole field of positive psychology. And I was just so enamored with all the science. So I went back, got my degree, and then I ended up doing my research on how fear controls people's behaviors and actually leads to a less fulfilling life. And positive psychology, what I studied is the scientific study of elevating happiness and well-being and helping you thrive in life. And so bravery is what my little contribution to the world is, helping people learn how to be brave so they can live their best life.
Love it. I can't wait. I'm excited. So let's just take a step back for a second. Can you define what bravery is? You call it like the foundation of a life well lived. So
Yeah.
what is bravery? And is it different than fearlessness? Is it different than courage?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking. So bravery is defined, and this is the scientific academic definition from Cynthia Puri, leading bravery researcher, but it's voluntary action in the presence of fear toward a worthy or meaningful goal. So you said, is it fearlessness? So if we look at the definition, no, bravery is not being fearless. In fact, if you have no fear, then you're not being brave. So bravery is, again, voluntary action. So being scared, doing it anyway, because it matters. That is what bravery is. And then you asked it, is different from courage. So I kind of use them interchangeably because, most people just use bravery and courage interchangeably. So I don't get too academic, but if we really dive into the difference. So courage is more of the virtue. You build courage. You are a courageous person. It's a virtue. Bravery is the action that you take. And so I'm all about changing behavior and making things practical and actionable. So if you focus on changing the behavior and help people be brave, take a step forward in the presence of fear because it matters, then the more they do that, then they build the virtue of courage as they do it.
So I like the distinction.
Yeah. As I just, courage is kind of like who you are, but bravery is what you do, or courage is the feeling, where bravery is the act.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because I think people think for many years and probably still today that if you're courageous and show bravery, that you're probably not afraid, right? Like the epitome is like a firefighter running into a fire. They better damn well be afraid because it's serious, it's important, and it's scary. But they're able to push through that to get the job done and do it anyways. Someone in the army, right? Having things shot at you and potentially getting killed. If you're not afraid, I personally believe something's off in your system. that you don't pick up on that signal that this is dangerous, this is serious, this is important, pay attention,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
don't get
We need to
crushed
be,
by it, is bravery.
we don't want to be brash. We don't want to just, it's not about bravado. It's about doing the right thing because it matters, right? Even though it's scary. So you're right. If you use the military example, like you're doing the right thing, but you want to be smart. Like you want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you're getting cover. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
just like run out and be open. Like that's just
It's not
stupid.
Rambo. It's not Rambo with the,
Yeah, exactly.
all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's stupidity.
And it's stupidity. So it's got to be in service to a worthy goal or a meaningful goal, but we do need to be smart. I don't want just people to like say, oh, well, I've always had a dream of being an actor and I've got a family of, I have 4 kids and I'm the primary earner and I'm going to just quit my job and go start interviewing. Like that would be where I'm like, okay, I love that you want to do what your dream is, but we need to be smart about taking the steps to get there. So it's step by step by step, because you got to think about the implications, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, let's be smart as we're brave. But you said another thing too. In terms of bravery, like some people think that bravery is really reserved for, it's like those heroic moments. It's reserved. It's something you're born with. And it's a Marine running into battle. It's a firefighter running into a burning building. But really, when you look at the definition of bravery, it's so much more than that. So yes, those are examples of such amazing bravery, moments of bravery. So I want to honor that. But bravery is so much more than that. That's just physical bravery. Most of us, day in and day out, we're experiencing a different type of, not the physical bravery, but more of the social bravery. What holds people back is I'm scared that my idea is going to be accepted. I'm going to be rejected, or I'm going to fail and it's not going to be perfect. Or, so it's usually those types of fears, not the physical fears, that are really holding people back and making them small in life. And then bravery isn't something that you're born with. It's something that you build. So the research is very clear that it's like building a muscle. Like if you wanted to, Ellie, if you want to go to the gym and get super buff, right? You wouldn't go into the gym and try to bench 200 pounds and then expect to do it really well. If you went into the gym, you don't just, if you couldn't lift it, you would just quit and say, see, I'm not strong. You know that to build strength, you've got to work at it little by little by little, and you build it up over time. Well, bravery works the same way. The more we can step into what we fear with logical, like incremental steps, we can build that bravery.
I love it. And you have this book, The Bravery Effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you take from psychology, neuroscience, behavioral science, stories from your time in the Army and
Marine Corps. Got to correct you on that
sorry,
one.
the Marine Corps. I just threw a whole general thing there. The Marine Corps, hoorah, and all that awesomeness. I love it. What was like one of the surprising scientific findings or research that you came across about courage or bravery?
Yeah, I think one of the foundational things is realizing that the only way to build bravery is taking a step first, then confidence follows. And this comes from
Like
Albert
fake it till you
Bender's.
make it.
Yeah, it's kind of fake it till you make it. Don't wait until you feel ready or confident and then take the step. So Albert Bender's research on self-efficacy was very clear, where he said, like, we do want to work on the mindset and help people like believe they can do hard things. He goes, but you build confidence not by changing the way you think. You build confidence by actually taking the step first, and then you believe it. So he's got this famous study. I always cite this when I'm on big stages doing keynotes. But, as he was researching this, like what people fear, he used an example of people that have fear of snakes. So in this case, he didn't give them pep talks and tell them that snakes are nice. What he did is he gave them steps that they could follow. So the first step was, and each step was uncomfortable and required some bravery. The first one is they had to look at pictures of snakes. Ooh, oh, uncomfortable. They didn't like it. Then they had to watch a video of snakes, and now they're moving. Then he brought snakes into the room, in an aquarium, far side of the room. Then he brought it closer. Then he brought it closer yet. Then he took it out of there and he handled it. Then they touched it. Then they handled it. So bravery is step by step. So in each of those cases, each step was uncomfortable, required bravery. But when you take the step forward, then you create evidence for yourself and go, wow, I just did that. And it wasn't so hard. Like so many times in our mind, we tell ourselves these stories of all these horrible things that will happen that are not even true. Most of the time, what we fear just isn't true. It's not as bad as we think it is. Like yesterday, to celebrate my book launch, I did something that I said I would never do, that I had the biggest fear of. I don't know if you have any guess at what it is. Skydiving. So like I've never
I
wanted to
never
skydive.
want to do that.
So I said the same thing, but I'm like, well, if I'm the expert in bravery and it's the thing that I fear most, I should probably on my launch day just jump out of the plane. So that's what I did yesterday. I was excited, but I was really nervous. And in the moment where they opened up the door about to jump out, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. I mean, I was trying to like kind of fake it, like, cause I had a bunch of other people behind me and I wanted to be like that brave leader. And I just kind of smiling. And, we immediately like jumped out. And the first 2 minutes were terrifying. Just like first 2 seconds where you're getting, and then as soon as you feel the wind, then it's actually not scary at all anymore. And it's just exhilarating and it's really fun. But here's what I'm trying to share the story with. Now that I've done it once, I'm like, that wasn't so bad. That was actually really fun. Now that fear, I'm conquering that fear because I decided, even though I was scared, I did it anyway. Now I'd love to do it again. It'll still be scary the first 2 seconds, right? But now I'm going to feel so much more confident. So that was my surprising finding is I thought it was all about it was all on mindset. So what my research shares in my book, and everything I have in my book is evidence-based because I am, yes, tough girl Marine, but I'm also academic geek, So I've got practical strategies. We do need to work on our mindset because our mindsets do help us take the step, but then we just have to take the step because then the step helps us with our mindset and feeling confident. So we have to work the two together. And then we've got a third element, which is social psychology, surrounding ourselves with people who will do challenging things that we want to do. Right. So that's what I think my most surprising discovery is. Just take a step forward, even though you're scared. And that's how you build the bravery.
Yeah, I love that. And there's a concept in positive psychology world and other mental health and self-help books and all those things of anticipatory regret,
Mm,
where because we think XYZ is going to happen, we will then deny ourselves the opportunity of doing it because it's not worth it. Because if I do this, this might happen. If I go there, there's traffic. It's not worth it. I might go to a party and see an X. So I'm just not going to go at all and not have fun. That is that anticipation, creating that narrative, creating those stories that then halt us from succeeding, from doing hard things or doing simple things, because
yeah.
you might, maybe, who knows. And it's such
Yeah.
a powerful thing to take that one step towards whatever that could be. And when it happens, or let's be real, if it happens, I will deal with that then with a better mindset versus I'm not even going to try. It's not even worth it. I get that question all the time. Ellie, how do you do this? How do you do that? I email. And they go, how could you? You could get a no. I said, I understand that. And I was taught from a young age, my parents always taught me that if you never try, the answer will always be no. But if you try, it could be yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we sometimes have to put ourselves out there to get the yes, even though it might be a no. And that's that
Yeah.
step forward. So I love that story about, I don't want to do the jumping out of the plane. I'm probably going to poop and vomit at the same time while falling. And it's just going to be
And then
messy
if
for
you did
everyone.
that, then the next time you probably would only vomit it and not poop. And then the
Yeah.
next
And
time
then the
you
third
wouldn't do
time,
either. And then you'd get there. But the thing is, it's got to be like, is it your goal? Right. So if there's meaning behind it, it's got to be a self-concordant goal too. Like, what is something that's really meaningful? And it shouldn't be about status or money. Unless it's security for my family, then that's good. So it's got to be the right, like intrinsic, like self-concordant goal, like first. And then you will do the hard thing to be able to get there. Like I wanted to jump out of the plane because I thought this is important for me to face my biggest fear because I am the expert on bravery and I want to be able to live I got to practice what I preach. So I really wanted to do it. Like you are going to be like, I don't have a desire to do that. No, thank you, Jill. But I love what you were saying because it makes me think of a conversation I was having with Dr. Cynthia Puri from Clemson, one of the leading bravery researchers that I talked to. And, what she was saying in her research is one of the biggest motivators to get people to take the action when they're scared is to think about what is the consequence of not doing it and trying to make that larger. You're saying anticipating the regret. So what is I like practicals instead of saying anticipatory regret, because, we can get into the academics, but for other people, I just say, what does your future self want you to do right now and why? So it's a simple question to ask is what is my future self? And that really helps us be motivated to take the action. And a lot of times courage bravery. These are little things that we do each day, right? Like little decisions, right? Oh, I don't feel like it. I don't want to. That's a little scary. It's uncomfortable. I'm not going to do it. So each day, be thinking about, how do I best serve myself? I have these goals. What does my future self, my 5 o'clock PM at the end of work, want me to do right now? That person there wants you to get the hard thing done so you can feel the pride of it at the end of the day. So I think that's a great strategy, anticipating the regret. If we, because there's two things we're weighing against. Like we're scared of the fear. So that's here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take the fear of regret and raise it up to be higher than the fear of doing it. And when we do that, then then we'll step forward.
Yeah. And I think we all face those challenges, whether it's our health, our wellness. I really don't want to talk to my therapist today. It's going to be a rough one. Like, I don't want to do that. Or it's going to be a hard workout. Or I don't want to do leg day. Or this is going to suck. And guess what? It might. It will. And at the end, somehow we always look back and go, oh, I'm really happy I did that. And I want to just transition to something that you talk about a lot with embrace the suck, right?
I really have it in my bracelet from
I
last night.
know. I
Yeah.
saw it. And I know you talk about it a lot. I did my research.
Okay, right on.
I love it. I love it. And I think that there's one of my favorite things is I learned years ago, and it was a Dale Carnegie course that I took with a school and a class that paid for it and like all these things where, you have your comfort zone and then right outside is success, or right outside is the potential. And that sometimes sucks to push that comfort zone and expand it. And so how do we know the difference between productive discomfort for growth and embracing the suck and maybe a struggle that harms us? Like, what's that distinction, and how do we
Yeah.
implement like embracing the suck in our daily life?
Yeah, it's different for everyone. So like what you described is your comfort zone. And then if you think of this, like there's our comfort zone, which is in the middle. The warm, fuzzy feels so cozy, just feels great. That's inside. And then we've got the next zone, which is like, this is our discomfort zone, right? This is the good stress zone, which is the circle outside of it. And then if we go too far outside of that, then we can go into distress. So each person's different. Like for me to get nervous to stand on a stage, like that doesn't get me very nervous. Like maybe if I was at a stadium with like tons and tons of people, maybe that would be, no, I think still that'd be probably good stress. But for other people, like having them go and talk in front of thousands of people, that is too much of a challenge too soon. So you've got to think of those zones. Like you don't want to be in the comfort zone, right? And this is where embrace the challenge. I want you each day to seek that discomfort of you growing and developing into the person that you're meant to be to have the biggest impact in the world. But, so I want you to shoot for discomfort, but make sure they're the tangible steps. I mean, think of the example I just had with, Albert Bandura. He goes step by step, step by step, take one step, then the next step, like each day, take a step. So it feels uncomfortable, but doable. If you take too far of a leap, sometimes you're not quite prepared enough. So I'm not saying just, jump off the deep end, be brave. It's like set the challenging goal that you really want and then come up with the steps to be able to get there. Each of the steps should feel uncomfortable, but doable. And then make sure you surround yourself. This is the third part of my research here, which is just the social psychology coming in. When you take the big steps and one feels a little bit steeper than the last one, then you just need to surround yourself with people who have gone up these stairs to the mountaintop.
I want to talk to the parents listening right now. If you love your partner but feel like after kids, everything got harder, it's not your fault. It's actually pretty normal. I wrote a book, From I Do to We Do, because couples don't get warned about the resentment, the invisible workload, the fights that escalate way too fast, and the disconnect that sneaks in. The book is part real life, part therapist brain, with tools to fight better, reconnect deeper, and actually feel like a team again. Because parenting should feel like us versus the chaos, not me versus you. From I Do to We Do is available now. Order at EllieWeinsteinLCSW.com.
Right? So when you surround yourself with people who have the experience and the wisdom and that care about you, they're going to help you even with when you fall or you're struggling.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really key element to help us feel safer. It creates a little bit of a, like, even though we're jumping out of our comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
if we know someone is going to be there when we fall or we make a mistake, it helps us. Like when I was writing my book, The Bravery Effect, I had never written a book before. Like I had no idea what I'm doing. It was scary for me. So I purposely sought out people who I know in my network that have been really successful in writing books. And so when I did that, it took some bravery to be able to say, like, okay, I don't know all the answers. I need help. So bravery comes in vulnerability of just saying, like, I'd love some advice. I'd love some help, or I'm struggling right now. So I went to my network many times in the book writing process and asked even for feedback, of asking, like, can you please read this early manuscript and give me feedback or give me suggestions on how I can make it better. So when we do that, we're going to have a better product. We're going to get there better, and it's going to help us feel more comfortable getting out of that, that little bubble. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? So go
100%.
outside, not too far, and then have people that will help you when you're out here, and it makes you feel better. Like I had a guy strapped to my back. Like I didn't jump out on my own. I did a tandem, right? So that was part of it. Like I had an expert. He'd been doing it for 12 years. Like I can jump because I've got someone that has the experience next to me.
Yeah.
Makes you feel better.
So is it that bad to stay in comfort? Not laziness, not in the idea of I don't want to, it's too hard, but the fact that I am satisfied and happy.
It's different for every single person. Like, let me just share a perspective that comes from positive psychology. So first of all, if people are completely happy with their life and they're comfortable, I would say I'm not the person to help them because they don't want more. So I talk to people who they're satisfied with their life. It's comfortable. It's fine. It's even good, but they desire to have a great life. They're not drowning, but they're keeping their head above water, and it's okay. But if someone really wants more, that's where I can help them in terms of bravery. And if I just think about like positive psychology, so my area of expertise, what I've got my master's in, what we focus on is you think of people's like happiness and well-being. There's like a spectrum of people that are all the way from -10 to +10. So think of the spectrum of -10 to +10. And you know the stuff. You know, zero's kind of in the middle where people are okay. They're okay. Now, I don't focus on people who are below zero because those are therapists that are helping people that are depressed, anxious, schizophrenic, right? That is focusing on people that really need the help, super important work to help them get to zero. So we're talking about maybe people who are at zero, or maybe they're at 2 or they're 4. They're like, I'm happy in my life. So if you're happy at a 2 or a 4, then you can stay there. But if you want to get to 6, 8, or 10, if you want to live your greatest life, then that's going to require bravery. So, and I was just having a conversation with really the father of positive psychology. His name is Marty Seligman. And as we were chatting, it was about 5 weeks ago, we had sat down for about an hour. And what he was sharing is that, when people just stay in comfort, that's really a fast track to actually leading to a life of usually depression and anxiety, because there's things that they fear. So people keep running away from what they fear. And what we know is when you keep running away from what you fear, then you become weaker and less resilient. And then you're scared of more things. So really, like, if you want to not fall victim to fear, anxiety, depression, like, you getting out of your comfort zone and always striving to grow is going to raise you higher up on the spectrum, protecting you from potentially falling below that zero line.
Yeah,
What
I
are your
love
thoughts
that.
on it?
No,
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think that comfort isn't bad, and if you're satiated and but if you want more, that's not a problem either. You're not selfish. If you want to grow and push, I think I heard that life is like going up a backward escalator. If you stop moving, you end up going down. Right? So,
Yeah. Oh, I haven't heard of
right?
that one. I'm stealing that one.
Yeah.
Backwards. Well, and you just made me think of something. This is really important. I like comfort. I want everyone to have moments where they're resting and recovering,
That
but
doesn't
let's
mean
just
we
go
need to
back.
lay on the floor every day just to be like, oh, I'm growing because Jill told me to. No, that's not what we're talking about. This is not like
Yeah.
comforts of life.
It should be, and it's just go back to the gym analogy. Like we have to move our bodies and try to exercise and do some resistance training to have our healthiest, most resilient body. But if, when I go to the gym, like I love lifting really heavy. I like to be sore because that's the way I like getting after it at the gym. But like if I really have an intense session, I'm really sore. I need to be comfortable and rest and recover to come back and do it again. So think of it this way. Like I want people to have days to be comfortable, right? But if you work hard for 5 days for a worthy goal of making an impact for your family and your community or in your workplace, and you work really, really hard, and then you are able to be comfortable and relax on the weekends so that you can be recharged to go back to work. Like you wanted that good balance. I like to be comfortable too, but think of comfort as you get to enjoy the rest and the comfort to recover to go back at again. So it too much comfort is, like you said, the escalator that if you're not taking those steps and you're just going to go down and it's
You end up being complacent. That's the word. You end up becoming
complacent.
complacent. So I have a
Yeah.
2-part question, and I have about 7 more questions. Maybe I'm going to send you a few that you can send me some videos that I'll share. Because we don't have that much time, and I want to get as much out of this interview as I possibly can, because bravery is such a key thing to all our lives. You talk about 2 things. You talk about many things, but the 2 things I want to combine into one question is you talk about starting with the hard stuff first and how hard things can become things that you end up loving.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, like, what is the importance? Why is it so effective to start with the hard things first, right? Usually people think, hey, just knock off the easy things. Boom, 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 boom. Get it done, right? Cleaning the house. I'm going to put that away because it's easy. Oh, I don't want to do that part. That's too difficult. I'll save that for later. But then we have also the second part of it. Okay, so you start doing hard things, and instead of being, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this, it's such a struggle, I'm now energized and excited about it. How can you talk about
Yeah.
both things, two for one?
Yeah. Well, so if you want to accomplish something that is outside of your comfort zone, let's say you have that goal to be able to get there. So you've set this very specific, self-concordant, important, meaningful goal for yourself, and it's going to be really hard to achieve, but you want to be able to achieve it. So in order to achieve it, we want to focus on what are the things that we need to do each day in order to be able to accomplish the goal. So sometimes too much focus on the goal, it doesn't serve us. We want to focus on the behaviors, the actions we need to take each day to get to the goal, right? So when you think about those actions, like those actions might be the things that we don't want to do, that we're not motivated to do, that are hard to do. So if we look at the research by Roy Baumeister, what he has found is that we have a limited amount of cognitive resources or willpower or motivation, like common words. He says cognitive resources, but think of our brain being fully charged in the morning, having the very most energy, best capacity to do the hardest thing in the morning. And then over the course of the day, our battery goes down and we've got the lowest supply of motivation, willpower to get things done. So the reason why I advise people I call it attack the day. It's the Marine in me. Like, what do Marines do? Like if we have a mission to accomplish, do you think we just wake up in the morning and we're like, let's get some coffee? What should we do first? We're going to do that. No, we're going to do the hardest, most important thing first. And that's how we should be looking at each day. So what is the most challenging task that you're not looking forward to? So that's going to suck, right? Or you're fearful of doing it, making phone calls out to prospects because you're in sales and they're like the scary client. Whatever it is, that's the scariest thing. Do that first thing in the morning. Because when you do that first thing in the morning, you have the best chance of doing it with your full cognitive capacity to get it done in the best way possible. And then when you get it done, then you get this little dopamine hit of like, I just did that. Wow. And that actually makes you more productive the rest of the day. Now, the natural thing that most people do is they start their day off with the easy things like, I've got this big project to work on, but I'm just going to check my email and keep looking at my social media. And then, like the doorbell rang. Oh, I got to open up this package. I need to, here's the errand. You just do all the little things that are easy, right? And you put off the hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens to most people is at the end of the day, they just say tomorrow. And the next day, same thing happens. They do all the easy stuff tomorrow. So we procrastinate. So we have to get in the habit of doing the hard things first in the day. And you can develop this habit of doing that. And when you do start doing the hard thing of the day and you get the dopamine hit and then you feel so accomplished, like your 5 o'clock self at the end of your workday is going to feel like, I had the best day ever because I accomplished so much. Like, yes. And I made progress toward my, you're going to feel like a rock star at the end of the day. When you avoid doing the hard thing all day, at the end of the day, you're like, God, I was busy all day, but I didn't really get anything important done. So this is where you're going to crave it. You need to first just start doing the hard thing in the beginning of the day. So you get in the habit of it, and eventually you build that habit, and then you crave it. You want to have days like that. So when you plan to attack your day every day, you've got to actually do your plan of attack the night before. You need to think about, all right, so if I'm going to do my most challenging tasks in the morning and I want to have the most productive day, I want to attack my day, what do I need to do the night before? And this is where people are going to think about, okay, I need to eat healthy. I need to hydrate. I need to get really good night of sleep so I can wake up, be my best self, and jump right into my day. Mm-hmm. So I think I answered both questions, why it's important that we do that. And then secondly, why you'll start looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I know we only have time for one or two more questions. So I'm going to just ask one that I ask everyone on the show. And I have about 4 other questions that maybe I'll email you and you can write something up and I can put it on my social media of things that we didn't get to. But, you went through the Marines, right? And you have like Jocko who did extreme ownership and putting your bed and setting your bed and all those kind of fun things that you've learned. What is something that someone who's listening who isn't a Marine, not an executive or elite athlete that you work for and work with, and what does bravery look like in their everyday world as for their family, work, or relationships that they can start implementing today or this week that can really maybe get that motor or the gears moving?
Well, let me just give examples for just regular people. Like I'm just a regular person too. Like I was a Marine a long time ago. I'm old now, right? But it looks like examples of like some work examples. Like you've had an idea that you want to share, but you've been too scared to share it. You've really wanted to maybe go for promotion to become the supervisor or the manager at work, but you haven't really felt ready yet, but it's meaningful to you. Or there's a really difficult conversation. There's a lot of conflict at work, and you really should have this difficult conversation to resolve this issue, but you just want to avoid it. So those are just real examples for a regular person, or maybe at home, right? There's maybe some tension between you and your spouse, and you want to have a great marriage, and it's just kind of okay, but you want to tackle that, right? And be able to resolve that, right? That's an example at home. Or maybe, you really don't have a really great health and fitness, and that's something you've always wanted to do, and you just haven't made it a priority yet. So, there's so many examples in our life of like maybe our hobbies, our community, our health, our relationships at home, our impact at work. There's examples across the board for everyone. So what is something that's really important to you that you want to improve? Right. And I think we should all be working on something to be brave on at work and at home, because we got to have good balance. Like I want you everyone to have the best life outside of work and at work. So always have a goal that you're working on, in your personal life and also your professional life. So that's the first thing, is just knowing where to focus. And you can start small. It can start something small. I want to start, when I go to meetings, I want to start making sure that I'm raising my hand and contributing at least twice every meeting. That might be a really good goal to start with as that first step, right? And then you'll be contributing more. So that is, I think the first step is deciding where, and then you want to just apply some of the practical steps. I mean, I could spend 2 hours with you going through all the evidence-based, things that are in the book, or, people could also, just go to my website too. I have free evidence-based resources. So people could just go take a bravery assessment and then get the free resources. They don't need to buy anything. I just want to give it away for free. But let me just give you a couple. One is, first of all, let's just use, first of all, one little cognitive reframe. And you know this, but I love just the growth mindset, the power of yet. Let's say someone says, there's no way I could ever be a runner or be fit enough to actually run a 5K. It's just, I can't run. Right? It's just not in the cards for me. So if someone said that, but they really wanted to get their health back, we could ask them to add the word yet. So I'd ask the person, what is the thing that you really want, that you just sometimes have self-doubt and add the word yet. I can't run yet.
Mm-hmm.
Practical tool. And then I ask the person, like, what does that do for you? Like, say it again, but mean it. I can't run yet. What does that mean? What does that suggest? That it is possible that I can run, and it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but it's a choice. And if I put in the effort, I can become a runner, right? And then I'll be like, and I'll give them a little wristband, the embrace the suck. Like, it's going to be hard some days, but if this is important to you, so just do that little cognitive reframe. Like, you can do, I want people to feel like they can do anything they want in life. So shed those self-limiting beliefs, believe that you can use the power of yet, know that the road will be challenging, but the going through the challenges and the stress, I mean, going through the struggle, that's what builds greatness. So when you get through those hard times, that's what's going to make you feel that pride, that self-confidence, that's going to bleed to every part of your life and make you a better human to be around. So that's the little cognitive tip. And then just the one little behavioral tip is, we all feel fear. So anytime you feel fear, and we all know when we feel it, like maybe our heart starts pounding or we just feel uncomfortable, we want to kind of take that step back. When you feel that fear, or when you experience that, instead of it being a sign to run away, I want you to pause and really think about, like, is this a sign that I should move toward it?
Mm-hmm.
Or because it's important? Or is this a sign I should run away? Most of the time, when we feel that discomfort or that fear, it's a sign that we should move toward it and start taking action toward it. So that should become the goal. So when you feel the fear, move toward it. Because I want people to feel like, I mean, I could just go on forever, and I know we're limited time, but if you can learn to be brave, this gives you freedom in life. It really does, because fear controls you. It's like you are incarcerated. You are kept small. But when you can learn to be brave in just one little area, and then another little area and another little area, you're going to start realizing, like, I can do anything that I want if I choose to. And it's true. It's absolutely true based on the evidence.
Yeah.
We hold ourselves back. Our fear holds us back, and we need to learn to break through that. And that's the promise of learning to be brave. It's exciting and it's doable. Anyone can do it.
Well, Jill, thank you so much. I'm going to email you those questions that we didn't get to. And I know you are going on today to do like 6 more things. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for being on the show. Everyone, check out the Bravery Effect book, check out the website, and tune in more to her unbelievable ways of understanding, describing, and teaching about bravery, which is so impactful to our lives.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. That was so fun.
Follow now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and finally, see me on YouTube at The Dude Therapist.